With me right now is Vice President of the Hall of Fame and Chief Curator Eric Strohl. Eric, it's great to see you again.
BK, always great having you guys here.
We've known each other for a quarter of a century now, coming up
almost,
here, looking at this. But so this is fascinating to me, especially given what we've all been thinking about the last few days. Tell us how this came about, how you thought, the museum thought, let's do something special for Hank Aaron.
Well, it was about 2007, and we're thinking we wanted to redo something related to our records room and know that Henry Aaron, at this point in time, he's getting up there in age, and it's like, we really need to capture this story, tell this story. And when you think about the fact that, he had an exhibit for Babe Ruth, if there's any other player that was worthy of having their own exhibit. All the Hall of Famers are unbelievable players, but we're talking about two guys who transcended sport to become cultural icons. Impact was awesome on the field, but what they did off the field was just as important. So we figured, no better time than now. So in 2007, we started that process and went and visited Henry and looked at all we had for him. In 2009, ended up opening this Chasing the Dream exhibit as the first part of the Hank Aaron Gallery, which includes the records room behind us.
There's a lot going on over here, so we're going to take a look over here, Eric, right now. So, Eric, we're looking here at the early days of Hank Aaron. There's the iconic shot when he was 18 years old and leaving home. This is fascinating, though. You have plaques in here that he won in high school. Right, and this was, where were these items that you found these?
So these were in his house. He grew up in Mobile. We went down there in 2007. The house was still in situ, intact. His mother had passed away, but this stuff was still in there. It was almost like walking into a time capsule a little bit. But we met Henry there and his sister and his brother, and we just kind of went through the house, got to sit on the front porch, listen to Henry tell stories about growing up and playing baseball in Mobile. Just amazing. And the whole point of this first part of the exhibit is to let people know what the early part of Henry's life was like, growing up, playing in Mobile, playing with Indianapolis, and then, of course, getting signed by the Braves in 1952, and then playing in the Sally League and desegregating the Sally League. And he also played in Eau Claire in Class C in the Northern League.
And, for the house, we'll see here, you have, these are pieces of the house that Hank grew up in, right? This is from the actual house in Mobile?
Yep, bricks and a porch post. Now, what we wanted was the mailbox. In fact, Henry said, the mailbox would be a great piece for you guys to have. It seems like a good symbol for the house.
Yeah.
And somebody had taken it, had removed it from the front yard, unfortunately.
What was it like for Henry to be back there at the time?
He always got a little bit emotional talking about Mobile and all the great baseball talent and Hall of Famers that came out of Mobile. And at that point, the trip was really twofold. It was one, to go and talk to him, get to see what it was still there, what else can we do to supplement. He knew we wanted to do an exhibit. But at the same time, Mobile was preparing to move the house, and the city was involved in everything, to actually lift the whole house up, put it on truck, and drive it to the Mobile Bay Bears ballpark, and they installed it as a house museum in the parking lot of the Mobile Bay Bears. So we, at the Hall of Fame, also helped consult on that project. So that was pretty cool.
And here are some of Henry's most prized baseball possessions, Eric, right? That's MVP award, one of his gold gloves, right? So he donated these things to the Hall, even as a player, you're saying?
Yeah, his donation started as a player, and then following his induction in '82, throughout the 80s, he continued to donate things to the museum. And that's something, it does need to be mentioned, the fact that Henry basically gave us everything he had. It's almost unprecedented in the history of the Hall of Fame to have a Hall of Famer give everything they have to the Hall. Wow. And so piecemeal, we added stuff over the years, and then in 2007-8, we went down and got a lot of other things to add on. In this exhibit alone, there's probably close to 50 things that he donated to the Hall.
Wow. Including, I should mention, the World Series ring from 1957. That's his World Series ring.
That's his World Series ring. It's very hard to get World Series jewelry, as you would imagine, from Hall of Famers. If you're going to keep anything, you keep your trophies, you keep your jewelry.
Right.
And maybe some of the actual equipment and stuff you're more willing to part with. But yeah, we've got his only World Series ring, his only MVP award. By the way, it's unbelievable that Henry Aaron only won one MVP award.
Right.
And then he had 3 Gold Gloves. We have 2 of them on display. We have all 3 in the collection. He won 2 batting titles. We've got both of those silver bats in the collection. And then, of course, a lot of the bats and balls from his hitting marks as he was going forward.
Wow, a lot of records. It's hard to keep up with everything that he set, especially at the time of his retirement. Amazing.
On Friday, I was watching you guys with George Will, and he said something which was so apropos, because I remember thinking about that when I was doing this panel, and he said when Henry Aaron retired in 1976, he had the record for the most records held.
Right. A record in and of itself.
Yeah, which is true. So it's about, between Major League and National League records, it's probably about close to 25.
Wow.
And over the course of his career, he finished, I think, more than 40 times as a league leader in hitting categories.
Wow. Here's the pitch by Downing. Swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
And here now is, Eric, not just Henry Aaron's uniform, but that is the uniform he wore when he hit 7:15, right? From that day off Al Downing.
That is the one right there. Yep.
Wow. And here, too, these are the bats. 600 home runs, 3,000 hits. He donated all these.
Yeah, 500 home runs below. And,
wow.
Of course, he was the first player to have 500 home runs and 3,000 hits, which is a short list. Now has 6 people, but he was the first.
Wow. Wow.
So, again, you know, these are milestone items from an unbelievable career. And without hesitancy, Henry, this stuff came us back in the 80s.
I want to point out as well that here in the museum, you take pains to tell the history of the game. And that's, some of it is not perfect, right? And some of it is history. And certainly what you have here with Hank and chasing 714, chasing Babe Ruth's record, you try to tell the story of what he went through at the time. Tell us about what's in the display.
Yeah, we have we actually have 2 letters in there. And so, you know, I know that anyone who follows baseball history is aware of what Henry went through as he was trying to eclipse Babe Ruth's record. Faced a lot of racism and a lot of people not happy about seeing Babe Ruth's record about to be broken. So it was an extremely stressful time for him. And of course, finishing the season in 1973, only 1 away, having to go through a whole off season. And so we knew we wanted to tell that part of the story. We didn't have anything in the collection. So we asked Henry, and this was actually back all the way for our Baseball is America exhibit. We got this stuff prior to doing this exhibit. We wanted a piece of hate mail because we knew that they had saved it, because they knew it was important to have that documented. And Henry said, okay, I'll give you a piece, but you can't show a piece of negative mail without showing a piece of positive mail, because I want everybody to know that you focus on that story. That's the negative story.
Right.
And it's always good news, right? And it's an interesting story to tell. But he's like, for every piece of hate mail I received way more positive mail. So people need to know that the full picture, the well-rounded story. And so that was really the agreement we made with him. He wouldn't give us a piece of negative mail unless a piece of positive mail followed it. So that small one there is a piece of negative mail. And then the larger typewritten piece was from a gentleman who named his son after Aaron, a medical doctor.
See, even you telling that story gives us a better picture of who Henry Aaron was, right?
Yeah.
That he had the understanding of what the legacy should be and what should be remembered, the good and the bad. And there's good and bad from all these things that happened in history of baseball.
He was unbelievable that way, just understood his place in what occurred in American history and culture, and making sure to use this as a teaching moment, but that everyone understands the full picture. And yeah, an amazing thing.
And there is the highest honor given in this country to a civilian, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's, Eric, that's actually it.
Yes.
That Hank Aaron got from George Bush.
Yeah, right. And that smaller one next to it's the Presidential Citizens Medal. It's the second highest civilian honor one can receive. And he got that from Clinton.
Wow. And there's more here, too. As you go back and around this, the records in the 755, and then Barry Bonds with the 762. But when they come here, when fans come up here, Eric, what do you hope they take away from the Aaron exhibit?
I hope that people understand the full notion of the man, not just the ball player, the guy that was one of the best ball players ever, and set an unbelievable record of consistency, which is mind-boggling. But not just that, what his legacy was off the field, what he did. One of the first African-American executives with the Braves after he retired, starting the Chasing the Dream Foundation and all of the unbelievable causes that he has backed over the years, giving millions and millions of dollars away to kids and youth that are at risk to allow them to chase their dreams, which is something he said all the time. And the fact that then the world recognizes this, right, when presidents give you the highest honors that are attainable. I think it shows everybody that, Henry was a Hall of Fame ball player. He was also a Hall of Fame human being.
Wow. Wonderful, Eric. And I think even just seeing that Aaron used his iconic status as a springboard to fight racial intolerance. And I hope, people who are our age, we know how big Hank Aaron was, and it's easy to tell, Henry Aaron, anytime you ever saw him, it was so big. And he was just here, just in 2019. And but you hope that, and that's the importance of the Hall of Fame, right, is that the next generation and the next generation, you can tell them, wait, you should know about Henry Aaron.
Yeah.
That's important.
This is going to be here for all posterity. That's why the Hall of Fame is important, and we will keep these stories alive for generations. Yeah.
Excellent. Eric, great seeing you again. Thank you so much.
Awesome to see you.